what I have you here for today is to, looks like re-engage in therapy. Is that correct?
I don't know what they call it, or I'm not sure. But I
Okay.
asked the psychiatrist if there was an option
Hmm.
for me to go to therapy to try to
Okay.
see if I could work through some stuff that I don't think medication's gonna help. Um,
Okay.
and I'm not on any medications right now. We could discuss that if need be.
Sure. Sure.
And she did say there was some options, and it's kind of funny when, as the veteran, you just say yes to the people in the VA and just hope you go the right direction because you don't know any more than they do, and they don't like no one explains everything to you.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I just was like, yes, I'll take whatever I can get, and hopefully it is the right thing and it goes down the right path. So,
Okay. All right, yeah. Um, so something that would be helpful for me to know is, I guess, kind of what, when you talk to that psychiatrist, what, um, you said you're going through some things that you really don't think medication is going to resolve. So I guess give me some insight into that if you don't mind.
so over what originally, it's probably the long story. I don't know if I can even make it a short story, but
That's okay. Give me the long story. We have an hour
I
together.
was completely disengaged from the VA when I got out of the Marine Corps. I got out of the Marine Corps and I was like, middle finger going out the gate. I don't need you guys.
Sure.
And back then in '04, especially with the Marine Corps, they like to be hard asses, and it's just like,
Yeah.
so it's not like anyone told me about PTSD or told me about following up with my disability or making claims or any like that was not even on the radar in '04. And the
Sure.
wars had just started, so nobody was even really thinking, hey, this veteran might need help after he's out. And so
Yeah. Absolutely.
it wasn't until I think 2021 or 2022 when things started really breaking at the seams, and I didn't realize I'd basically been self-medicating with alcohol my whole life.
Okay.
And so I had some problems and things were really bubbling over. And that's when I finally reached out to the VA. They put me on medication for a little while. I was having sleeping
Okay.
problems, which I had never had in my life before. I was waking up
Okay.
with panic attacks, which I had never had in my life before. Um, my brain could not stop going 100 miles an hour. I felt like my life was in danger just by being around regular humans. All this stuff I'd never experienced in my life before. And
Okay.
so I followed through with the VA, did the medication. I had therapy for a little while.
Okay. And this was in
This is,
22 or short?
I want to say 21 or 22 when I first went to the
Okay.
VA.
Okay.
I'd have to really, literally pull up a calendar to track it. But
That's okay. I can pull up your records while we talk and
yeah,
see if I can track with you,
yeah,
just to make sure that I'm seeing what you're saying and we're all
yeah.
good.
And things were going good for a while, and I got off the medications, which the
Okay.
psychiatrist didn't like, but I kind of felt like I was at a point where
Mm.
the medication would help. Medication got me to a point, but there was a side effect, and then it gets to a point where you're like, well, maybe I'm better off just not with that side effect. So it had helped me
Okay.
calm down, I guess you could say, help my brain kind of relax, me saying in layman's terms. But it also
Okay.
got me to a point where I didn't want to leave the sofa, you know? And so it's like,
Okay. Had like a depressing effect.
it almost like a lethargic effect, almost like a just no
Okay.
motivation effect. And
Okay.
it's one of those things where it's like, hey, it helped with your social anxiety because you're not leaving the house unless you absolutely have to. Um,
Yeah.
so I stopped taking it, and I told the psychiatrist stop taking it. She didn't like
Okay.
that too much, and I said, listen, if things go south again, I'll get back on the medication. And I watched myself, and I was fine for a while.
Okay. Good.
Then I had an incident happen, and it drove my brain right back to like square one. The
Okay.
insomnia, the waking up with panic attacks, the social anxiety, the feeling like
Okay.
there's threats trying to get me when I'm just around regular people. And this is the long story. This is the part of the long story I'd like to get into.
Okay.
Um, so, and I feel so stupid now looking back at this. So I usually, as a rule, I don't date coworkers, right?
Okay.
This girl I actually met before she came to my company. I met her through a way that was kind of like a indirect recruiting tool anyway. It was like a seminar. She eventually came to the company, and we wound up getting back together because we'd broken up. We hadn't talked for like 2 months. She goes, "Hey, I joined your company." Um, I said, "Cool." I said, "I still got your day bag. It's in the back of the closet." She had a little overnight bag she left here, and not want to be a dick, I didn't throw it away, but it was just back there, and you forget about it. And I'm like, I could bring it and hand it off to you in the parking lot. And she goes, "Well, I'll come by and get it." And so we started back up again. And about 4 months, everything's going good. And so I recommended her to my team lead about her coming on to the team as an admin position. And what really happened is really hazy because nobody wants to tell you anything. But she basically
Okay.
started spreading. So we broke up basically the week that she got on the team.
Okay.
And she
And this is
started,
the second breakup?
yeah. And she
Okay.
started apparently spreading some rumors about me.
Okay.
And I had no idea this stuff was going on. And I didn't get my first clue there was something going on until like 3 months later. By this point, I was I I was being treated differently by people, but I didn't. But I was actually going through cognitive behavioral therapy at the time with the VA.
Okay.
And they try to tell you like, well, maybe these thoughts are just in your head. You think they are in your head, right? You're like, oh, this person doesn't have a problem with me. This person doesn't have an attitude with me. Oh, maybe they're just having a bad day.
Sure.
And then 3 months of her being on the team, I mentioned something about my boss about her having a problem with me because I thought me and her were cool. All of a sudden, she's got an attitude with me constantly. And I mentioned to the boss, mind you, I never told the boss that we had dated because
Sure.
she asked me not to tell anyone our history. Okay,
Okay.
none of their business. I don't talk about that stuff at work. I'm not going to talk about her at work. He snaps at me, says, "Leave her alone. You're not going to get along with everybody. Some people don't want to be your friend," which is just like a really unprofessional. And I was like, "Dude, what's going on?" And he's like, "Just leave her alone. You're not going to get along with everybody."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "All right, man, what's going on? I came to you with a problem, and I feel like you're treating me like the problem."
Mm-hmm.
And he won't give me any information. And so I just go, okay, she's doing admin work, but outside of that, I won't even talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
So I ignore it, I drop it, I move on.
Okay.
And then instantly people start treating me even worse. You're starting to be treated like a pariah, information not getting passed to you at work. You're not invited
Yeah.
when certain people get together to work together. You see people going to like some sort of training stuff and they post on the social media team page, but nobody invited you. You're being excluded
Yeah.
from stuff.
Yeah.
And I just keep going and I'm just like, all right, whatever. And I even told a friend, it's like, at this point, I feel like I'm on the team on paper alone.
Hmm.
Um,
You don't feel like you're a part of anything.
yeah, I feel like I'm being like, what, like, there was a word for it where you're kind of like being excluded, but not officially excluded. It's
Yeah,
like, it's like,
I know what you're talking about, but I cannot for the life of me think of the
it's like
word.
almost like a type of form of abuse, like they'll do in families or something. And
Yeah.
and so then December rolls around. So this has all happened the last half of last year, and
Okay, so
now
this is December of 2024.
2020. Yes, so this has been almost a year ago.
Okay.
And then I hear someone who's not even on the team tell me they heard something, and words are being thrown around like harassing, stalking, creep. And so I go back to the boss and I say, "Hey man, what's going on?" And I'm like, "What is this girl saying about me?" And he tells me, nothing's going on, man. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. No one's saying anything. Nothing's going on. And he keeps trying to either change the topic or keeps trying to like, all these little tactics to try to like divert or misdirect
Maybe walk around
or make it seem like it's in my head. And then he tries to pull like the, "Are you okay, man? Like, do I need to send someone to check on you? Like, as if I'm like suicidal or some
yeah,
shit."
like a form of gaslighting almost.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and it almost had me too. I'm like, well, maybe this person who told me stuff didn't know what they're talking about. Blah 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 blah. And all these little bits of evidence that had happened up to this point, I kept trying to tell
Yeah.
myself it was in my head, right? No, people don't have a problem with me. No, this person's not being a dick just to be a dick. Like my boss, he basically from when this girl started to he started being a dick to me, and I didn't realize it because I was trying to tell myself, no, he's just under a lot of stress. He's just he's having a bad day. Because
Yeah.
you're doing the cognitive behavioral therapy stuff, and like you're like, no, okay, it's don't they tell you these things don't do with cognitive behavioral therapy. Don't mind read, don't assume, don't all this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so he's almost got me on at this point where I'm like, okay, maybe it is, maybe I'm wrong, blah blah blah. Like I almost fall for it. I almost fall for the like you said, the gaslighting or whatever, or the manipulation.
Hmm.
And he says something which is kind of funny because he's telling me no one's saying anything about me, nothing's going on, there's no problems. But then he says, well, if you two can't work it out, one of y'all can leave. And I'm like, I don't even know what the it is, right? Like I don't know what what the thing to work out is,
Yeah.
And so I told him, I'm like, fine, I'll leave. Um, it really pissed me off because what this girl was saying about me, I had no idea. And it's weird because when you hear a woman say something that someone's doing something, someone's harassing, you believe it by default, right? Like you'd be a dick not to.
Yeah.
You don't believe that, well, some chick would just lie about you because she knows that's the easiest way to you know, to get back at you for something I don't even know what she felt she needed to get back at.
Right.
Um, the conversations I try to have with other people on the team, you know, everything was so creepy. Like there's all this double speak in the conversations. There was all this like one girl said something like, "Oh no, she's not saying anything about you," and I'm like trying to get her. I'm like I know something's being said. Just tell like I'm trying to get her to tell me what's being said. And she's like, "No, no, this girl's not saying anything about you." Blah 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 blah. She goes, "But if y'all were having problems before you brought her to the team, why did you bring her to the team?" And I'm again like, what problems? Like everyone's convinced there's problems, but
Right. But you're no
I have no
idea.
idea what the problems are, and nobody will tell me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what problems? And then it's like, every time I get this thing where they think they've got a zinger, right? Or they think they've got I'm going to say something, but then when I ask for clarifying statements, either they break off the text communication, they deflect the answer, they'll respond to something else in the text, but not respond to that. And it was like I couldn't get answers from anybody, and
Right.
it was,
Despite how hard you tried. I mean, it sounds like you went to several um,
and
different avenues.
I've got screenshots for days. I could send this stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing too. I've got the evidence to back it up, right? I've got the conversations here. Um, so I leave the team. This is back in December. Um, Nobody talks to me for 2 months. Nobody on that team talked to me for 2 months. And then we have a social event, and everyone comes up to me. Not everyone, but several people on the team come up to me, like as if nothing ever happened. And now, so it's super creepy because it's like I know you guys are talking about me. I know there's something going on here. You all treated me like shit for the last few months I was on the team, and then everybody wants to all of a sudden be buddy buddy with me.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, and it's getting like super creepy. Like it's getting it's getting creepy. And then you're finding out that when you do say something to one person, it gets sent back to other people, and it's like, what is going on? Like, you feel like you're dealing with this like cult mentality or something, but then
Yeah.
you're the only one, so you feel like you're in the wrong because everyone else is all. It's like a numbers game or something. It's like if
Yeah.
I give my story, but then they've all agreed to give their story and it's the same story, then it's like a numbers game. Everyone, you even feel like you must be wrong if seven, eight,
Yeah.
9 people are all telling you you're wrong.
Right.
Um, so I'm slowly going crazy here at this point.
Yeah.
I'm losing sleep. I'm having insomnia again. I'm waking up to panic attacks. That's when I called
Oh.
the VA back up and I said, I think I need to get back on the medication I was on,
Okay.
at this point 3 years prior when I was literally thinking about suicide. So
Yeah.
like these people have got me at a point where I'm going down a rabbit hole where I'm like borderline suicidal. And I feel like I'm losing my mind. And it's so weird because like, you know, it's weird because it was like there's you get those that little like splinter in your brain, but then you don't know if you should listen to it or not. And I think that's the
Yeah.
problem with when you're a veteran, especially with PTSD. You almost
Mhm.
don't know if that little splinter in your mind or that little hint in your brain, that sixth sense, you almost can't trust it no more because you don't know if
Yeah.
it's really telling you or if it's, you know, paranoia. Like that little part of your brain kind of seems like it gets damaged because you've had to use it so much.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and if we think about it, right, and I saw when I did a little bit of a review of your chart earlier today, I saw that you had also done cognitive processing therapy as well.
well, yeah, that was it. It
Or
was it was it was cognitive behavioral therapy, and then it switched over to cognitive processing. And that's
right.
that's that's the shitty thing about this too is that I'm going to therapy because I'm thinking this is all in my head. And I'm thinking I'm the problem. This is mind you, this is before December, right? This is
Right.
I'm thinking I'm the problem. I'm thinking this in my head. I'm thinking I'm the issue. And I'm thinking that if I act out or misbehave, then that's going to make people not want to be around me. It's going to make people want to leave me out of the social activities. It's going to make people not want to invite me to hey, I'm going to this training group. It's more like, hey, let me not tell Anthony. So I'm going to therapy and I'm thinking it's all me. Meanwhile, this person was basically saying things about me behind my back, and apparently everyone was hearing it. And
And believing it.
and believing it, and they're treating me based off something someone else says, and they're not even asking me my side of the story.
Mm.
So it's not even that it wasn't even a he said versus she said, which in some ways at least that's fair. It was a she said, but he's not even supposed to know so that he can even give his side of the story. And come to find out, majority of the stuff it didn't happen. Like it wasn't even like and that's where I'm trying to figure some of this out too. It sounds like now, mind you, we broke up when she first got to the team,
Which was, could you give me a
which was
timeline
that was
around
like
that?
July. So
July 24.
yeah, so this is me and her on the
Okay.
team for about 5 months from start to finish.
Okay.
Um, yeah, there's one time where I walked out of the office had a little bit of an attitude because she had said something that was a little shitty, right? Um, and then there was stuff where she came at me with stuff. So of course I'm in the office. I'm not too fucking happy with her. But like after that month, everything was squashed. At least I thought. But apparently she had already started the smear campaign, so it just kept going. So even when things were good between me and her for a couple of months, apparently she was still saying that stuff was going on, but there were problems between us. And it's like the stuff didn't even happen. So it wasn't even a he said versus she said or my story versus her story. It's like this apparently for a while the stuff that she was saying wasn't even happening.
Yeah.
And so
And so that makes you question not only yourself, right? That not only were you questioning like, is this in my head, but then now after the fact, I think you mentioned like that sixth sense is going off, but it's also like, can I trust it?
yeah. Yeah, and I didn't listen to it because I'm going to cognitive behavioral therapy and I'm thinking it's all me. I'm thinking it's all in my head, you know. So you get into December. I leave the team. 2 months later, there's that social event. Everyone's all friendly, like nothing ever happened. And I feel it's weird too because it's like, did they have a freaking committee? Did they have a meeting? Like, did they all agree this is what we're going to do? It was weird because they all seem to be doing and saying the exact same things. Like, they all knew to tell me the same lies when I did finally ask what was going on, what was being said about me. They knew all to be super friendly, not all, but like I said, a good share of them. When I showed up to the social event, um, and then I was a little bit rude because I'm like, I didn't say it, but I'm basically like, what the fuck do you guys want? Um, so I turned around and I apologized to a couple of people, like later on that weekend, next day or two. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, whatever happened happened, and it should be put behind us. And you know what? Maybe I can mend some relationships, not realizing how bad it was, right? Because in my head, I still don't know what was said or the extent of what was said, right? Because nobody would tell me anything.
Right.
And then I decided to start reaching out to a few people on the team, and two people were nice enough to tell me a little bit of stuff.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not crazy. So that's good to know. Um, but they still wouldn't give me like a lot of details. I'm still getting these like really hazy like answers, you know,
Yeah.
like one guy said, well, when it seemed like whenever the drama was dying down, something would happen,
Mm-hmm.
but he wouldn't tell me what the something was,
Right.
right?
Or sounds like what the drama was either.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm getting these really hazy answers, and I'm trying to figure out what am I being accused of doing, and nobody would actually say it. And when I talked to the boss about it again, by this point, mind you, I've been off the team for about 2 or 3 months, and now his story's changing a little bit from nothing happened to, well, you guys were having problems. Like again, these really hazy answers. And
Right.
he
That don't sound like they're true.
and he'd say it in a way where it was like he's given this answer where it's like somehow an equal thing, like you too were having problems, like as if it's a equal grounds. But I'm getting the impression that whatever's being said was not an equal grounds problem. It was I was being a problem, and that's two completely different things. And it's one of these things where it's like, well, they want you to say, yeah, we were having problems, right? It's like he wanted a confession.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew, I'm like, if I confess to this, he's going to assume I'm confessing, not just, say yeah, we had problems, and I'm thinking about the 4 weeks after we broke up, right?
Yeah.
But to him, that would mean I'm like verifying anything and everything.
Everything. Yeah.
But I don't know what the everything is, so I'm like, I'm not confessing to shit.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that came up, one of the people on the team said, oh, and this is going back to right after I left the team, like literally that weekend. One of the girls on the team said, yeah, the boss said, when next time there's a problem between two people, we're going to squash it right away. So mind you, he's telling me there's no problem, but he's telling everyone on the team next time there's a problem between two people. So again, it's like, one,
You're getting conflicting things.
what is the fucking problem? And then two, you're kind of confirming whatever she is saying. You're like, yeah, you're not saying, yes, what she said was true. But if you say, next time there's problems between two people, and the only story everyone else has heard is her saying there's problems, it's kind of like he's verifying whatever rumors she's spreading.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm not even supposed to know what I'm being accused of.
Right. Okay.
So I'm
sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
So yeah, it got to a point now, and I told him basically, I said, don't fucking talk to me, just stay the fuck away from me. Mind you too, he is part owner of this company that and I don't fucking care. I told him, stay the fuck away from me. I was like, you tell everyone else on your team to stay the fuck away from me. Obviously he didn't, because every once in a while people come creeping back around, which is also creepy. Like it's so fucking creepy. Um, when I tried to talk to one of the girls back in April-ish of this year, I said something to her that she ran right back to the boss. And I know that because when me and him did talk, he said, "Yeah, and you said such a thing," and he basically gave his reply to it. So it's like I know everyone's running information back. Everyone's trying to like play
Yeah.
like everything's cool when it's not, and then it's like, well, we're all fine. You're the one with the problem. Like it's super fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Um, so and like I said, every once in a while, someone will pop their head up, like someone wished me happy birthday, and I'm like, listen, I told Eric, I'll tell you, stay the fuck away from me. I don't want anything to do with you guys. And then
Yeah.
just the other day, I had one of the guys try to walk up to me at a social event and be like, hey, you know. And so later on, I texted him and I said, hey, this is me being polite. I don't want anything to fucking do with you guys. Stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah. So it sounds like you still work for this company. What is it that you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I don't want to say that part, but so
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say what it is, and I don't want to say what company it is. But
Okay.
um,
I mean, everything we talk about is confidential, so it's not like I could mention it to anybody, but it's just giving me context. But you don't have to say it if you don't feel comfortable doing so.
yeah,
I'm not gonna force you. That would be unhelpful.
yeah,
Um, but you do still work for the company, is my understanding.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I said, back in December after I left the team, like I was so spun up about this. Like I was back at that point where I need to go back to VA and get back on medication. Like I had insomnia again. I was waking up panic attacks. I was getting this paranoid feeling
Yeah.
that well, I was getting a paranoid feeling that people were out to get me because I had just lived through 5 months of people out to get me and I had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
You know, and this girl destroyed basically my relationships, whether you call it friendships or just professional, with 14 people. I've got 14
Yeah.
people who think that I did stuff that I never fucking did, and I wasn't even supposed to know I was being accused of doing anything.
Okay. Yeah. So it sounds like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, and kind of based on what we've talked about up to this point, but it sounds like that this is what you'd like to focus on in therapy is that situation that has happened and not only how it was addressed, but how you can move forward from that. Is that accurate?
I Part of it is I'd like to find some sort of understanding in
Okay.
what happened. I would like
Okay.
to learn how to put it behind me because here we are in November. It's been almost a year since I left the team, and this still fucking bothers me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying I don't know why it bothers me so much. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the fact that I had people I thought was my friends basically trying to fucking tear me down. I don't know if it's because of the fact that everyone lied to me. I don't know if it's because of the fact that I didn't get any sense of like there was no fairness in the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
I mean, all of
you
these
were
things are possible.
you it's like if you were charged with a crime, but you yourself weren't even allowed to know you were charged with a crime. They just put you in jail.
Yeah.
It'd be like something out of some sort of like Soviet Union story or something. You know,
Yeah, and then you
like
weren't even allowed to ask questions and then let alone defend yourself.
yeah, and then by asking questions, defending yourself, then you're also treated like the problem. Like because
Right.
now I'm confronting people, somehow I'm the problem.
Right.
You know, like as if everyone else knew, no, you should just go along with it and just be fine with this. Like I don't know which factors it is that why this bothers me so much. And it's not the funny thing is it's not the woman herself because yeah, people break up and they fucking shit talk the other person. Yeah, it's pathetic, but people do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what she did was not just that. It's like she meticulously made sure that people believed that I was actively doing stuff that I wasn't doing.
Right.
And
Okay.
aside from when, like I said, yeah, I walked out of the office one time with a little bit of an attitude because she had
Yeah.
made it. And this is what I realized too, is, and this is where when after December I went down the rabbit hole with like narcissism and smear campaigns and what was it,
Yeah.
social, what's that? Sociopathy, psychopath. Like I started going down the rabbit hole with that. And it's like, yeah, you can't diagnose a person. I'm not, and I know you can't diagnose her without her being here, which is why narcissists never get diagnosed, right? Because they never.
Yeah, well,
I
and sometimes they do because they're narcissists, but that's beyond the point.
Well, yeah, like it's not like I can get that sort of
Yeah,
like closure on this. It's not like I could drag her in here in front of
right,
the camera and you could diagnose her for me.
right.
But
Although, well, I'm sure that might be helpful somewhere in some part of
but
you.
yeah, but it's so I went down that rabbit hole and stuff, and it's like some of the things that they mentioned, like and I realized she was picking at me that first month on the team because she wanted a reaction, and then she can go turn around and tell people whatever story she wanted to. She's going to
Yeah,
say, Anthony's got an attitude with me. She's not going to say, Anthony's got an attitude because I texted him and I brought up the past. You know? Like,
right.
and that's what she did one time.
Yeah,
She texts me, she dredges up the past. And then, okay, of course, yeah, I've got an attitude. But I'm sure she went to everyone and said that I'm sure she didn't tell that half the story.
sure.
And people love to
So
do that.
let
They
me
love to tell
ask.
the half the story where they're the victim, not the half the story where they started
Yeah,
the fight.
nobody likes when the full story is shown and they have to be held accountable for their actions
But
too.
see, that's it though, is I didn't get to tell the full story because I never
Right,
knew that shit was being said.
right, right.
So
So
sorry, this
I
still
have a
gets me
couple.
hyped up. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I think that this is probably helpful information for me to know,
Yeah.
so we can kind of figure out a path forward together.
Yeah.
Um, and it's crazy how fast time goes by when we're in these sessions.
I know, I know.
Um,
I was trying to be as
and
concise as
so
possible, but there was so much happen in such a long period of
there was,
time.
and honestly, you did a great job. You really did. Um, and so some of the things that I think might be helpful, and I want to hear your opinion on this, is I think. Well, let me backtrack before I get into that. Um, have you ever experienced this before in relationships, or I don't know if you're in a current relationship?
So I experienced something I would say similar on a much, much smaller scale. And so,
Okay.
and this is just me reflecting back, like after this
Okay.
happened. And so it didn't bother me as much. Like
Okay.
I did lose a friendship, right?
Okay.
Um, so and it was one of those things where it was a mutual friend. It was actually a friend of mine that I introduced the girl to I was dating, and they became really good friends really quickly. Like strangely
Okay.
quickly, how much they became like best buds. Um, and then when things started taking a certain turn between me and the girl I was seeing, um, the mutual friend also started distancing herself from me. And that's when I'm just like, you get to a point where I was just like, well, I'm just gonna have to wash my hands of it. Oh well, I lost a friendship, and it sucks
Yeah.
because it was a good friend. I liked her, but
Yeah.
but it wasn't as it wasn't as much as this. It was just something that whatever was being said about me, whatever however this girl was tearing me down behind my back,
Yeah.
oh well, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it really didn't bother me that much.
Okay. And this situation, how would you describe your communication style throughout this entire, what is almost a year pattern, if not a little bit longer than a year, really, if you include the time that you were together? Uh, were you able to communicate effectively, or do you believe that you were?
Do you mean from
Um,
like with the time period I told you, as far as from when she got to the team to when I left?
yeah, from the time period that she got to the team to the time that you left, and then to now. So like all of that time included, do you feel like you've been able to set good boundaries? Do you feel like you've been able to communicate how this impacted you, or do you feel more so like something different?
So now, I mean, yeah, I talk about this with people when it came up or as
Okay.
it comes up or whatever. I
Okay.
don't have a problem talking about it. Um,
Okay. Good.
as far as when I was on the team, like, I mean, I'd always try to be like a go with the flow sort of guy when I work with other people. Because
Okay.
I'm best when I'm leading myself. I don't necessarily care to lead other people. All right, because then I just
All
feel because I feel like leading people sometimes like leading cats. So I prefer just be a go with the flow person. I know I'm sure I can be difficult in some aspects, but I try to cool off when I can. Um,
right.
and when I was on the team, I just kept going like as if, it was just regular day and regular day out. I was giving no thought to this girl. I was giving no thought to her saying anything about me. I was giving no thoughts to her having any problems with me because I didn't think there was anything going on. And then when I went to the boss in early October and I was like, hey, yeah, she seems like she's got an attitude with me all of a sudden because it was all of a sudden. And it's one of
Yeah.
those things where I hate to say this, like there's obviously differences between genders, men and women. All right,
Sure.
when women want to let you know that they have an attitude with you, you will know they have an attitude with you. All right, y'all are
Sure.
great at projecting those emotions. So all of a sudden, one day, she seemed like she had an attitude with me, and it's almost so strong. Like you sit there and go, "Wait, did I do something wrong?" Right? Like you're like, "Well, no one would just have an attitude just to fuck with you, right?" So I'm sitting
Right.
there like going, "Did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong?" Like, and I'm reviewing myself, and I'm like, I didn't fucking do anything to this person. Just all of a sudden, she's got an attitude for about a week and a half, and that's when I go talk to the boss, and then that's when
Okay. And that's when we got to this
he's
point of
like, yeah, leave her alone. She doesn't want to be your friend, and he almost came off like a like a like protective boyfriend or something, you know.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, man, you're coming at me like, what is going on? You're coming at me like I'm the problem. He wouldn't give me any information. And I'm like, fine, unless it has to do with work, something we're actually doing. Like I have to talk to her because she's an admin person. And even then, from there on out, if I emailed her, text her, I had someone else in the conversation. I didn't talk to her. Like I didn't call her. I didn't talk to her in the office. I just stayed the fuck away from her because I didn't know what the hell was going on. And if someone's got a problem with me, fine, I could just stay away from them. Like,
Right.
got no problem with that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and so I
So
like that
go
and
ahead.
that's back in October. And other
Okay.
than calling her one time so that we could put a little gift card together for someone on the team, um, I never talked. I never called her since then. Don't care to talk to her. Like I don't have to.
Okay. So something that I'm thinking about, and like I said, I want to hear your opinion on this. As far as treatment moving forward, I know you mentioned that one of your goals is to help try to find understanding and put this behind you.
Yeah.
And the way that I hear that is kind of building coping skills and more, and for lack of a better word, more tolerance for what you've experienced and how to move forward if this were to happen again, or even just how to approach new situations in a better way. Is that accurate?
Well, I mean, I'm usually pretty good at avoiding these situations.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand why this hurt me as much as it did. And
Yeah.
that's the thing too is, and I said to one person, I said, I do want to cry, but I can't, so all I can do is be angry.
Okay. That's actually really helpful information. Thank you for sharing that.
It's like
Um,
I'm not mad. Like I'm fucking hurt. Like
you're hurt.
I feel like I got
Yeah.
stabbed in the back by a group of people that I thought were good people.
Yeah. So there are a couple of different therapeutic approaches we can take. Okay. You've done CBT before.
Yeah.
So we can incorporate some CBT skills, but I want to be careful when we're doing CBT to make sure that we're not accidentally invalidating your experiences because they are very real experiences. And like you mentioned before, sometimes we can get stuck in the pattern of CBT that we forget that things are real too. Um,
And that's
and so,
yeah. Go ahead.
go
And
ahead.
that does suck. That I feel like that's what happened. Is it's almost and I feel like in
Right.
therapy sometimes that's what happens. Is it's like instead of focusing on yes, because obviously you can only help me with what's up here. So
Yeah.
that's your tool book. That's your
Yeah.
toolbox. But it
Yeah.
sucks because sometimes it really is out there, and it sucks when you feel like you're sitting in front of
Yeah.
someone and they're telling you that it's all in here. You know?
Yeah. And I think sometimes, no, I don't know that provider, so I won't speak to the type or value of work they did. I'm sure it was good work.
It was, and
Hands
I'm
down
not.
that you got
I'm
good things
not
from
putting
it.
him down as a professional. I'm not at all.
Right.
It's just unfortunate how it played
How it
out.
played out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And sometimes, and I'll say as a provider, we make mistakes too sometimes, or we oftentimes will say, oh, well, we want you to be careful of mind reading without realizing that that's also invalidating a very real experience.
Yeah.
And that's a very hard line to walk. And so one thing that I think would be helpful is one, I think learning what's called. Have you ever heard of DBT, dialectical behavior therapy?
No, no, I haven't.
Okay, it stems from a cognitive approach, so very similar to like CBT, that cognitive approach. But it teaches all about distress tolerance. So when our emotions get so high, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
And it teaches skills on like how can I deal with this, right? Like, I'm so mad, I want to cry, but I don't know what to do. I don't know, I don't have an outlet.
Yeah.
And so it helps kind of put context to that. And based on what you're telling me, you kind of have a more complex story. So I'm not sure that one therapeutic approach is going to be the perfect one. I think a combination of different approaches are going to be what fits with you best.
Yeah. And that's what sucks about this too. It wasn't a single event. This was me
Right.
living in an environment that was protracted, like progressively getting worse, and it
Right.
involved multiple parties who it seemed like at a
Yeah.
certain point, like in the most toxic way of saying it, it's almost like she
Yeah.
weaponized a group of human beings against me.
Hmm.
And it's like it almost makes her sound like the supervillain of a movie or something, but it's
Right.
like how can a person pull that off? You know,
Right.
getting a whole group of people to to treat you a certain way because now they think you're a bad person or they think you're doing
Yeah.
bad things.
Yeah. And so I think with that in mind, because it was also over a long period of time.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was just a 2 week thing. It was months and months and months of this. And so I think possibly incorporating those DBT skills to help you tolerate, especially because you said you're having panic attacks.
I
Um,
was. I'm doing a lot better now, but I
okay,
still I'm still not over it, unfortunately. And I still
sure.
find myself, what do they call it, ruminating, you know.
Yeah. And
And
and so that's why I think a combination of different skills are going to be helpful. I think working on the cognitive piece to stop the ruminating or
yeah,
interrupt the ruminating better is a better way of saying it. We can do that. I think the distress tolerance to help, um, when those emotions get a little bit too much or they're bubbling up and maybe it's just feeling like a lot. I think that would be helpful. And
yeah.
then I'm gonna have to talk about and see if my supervisor will let me. But have you ever heard of emotion focused therapy before?
I don't think I've heard of that either, no.
Okay, so emotion focused therapy is an evidence based treatment. And the reason why I say if they'll let me is because sometimes the VA can be a little finicky about what they let us do or not.
That's fine, yeah.
But EFT is really focused on understanding your emotions
Mm,
and where they're stemming from. What are they trying to tell you? What are they trying to communicate? And what do I do with that emotion? Um, and so, for example, anger is the first one that I think of. A lot of times people think, oh, I'm just mad. Something pissed me off, I'm mad.
mm,
Well, a lot of times, anger also stems from hurt.
yeah,
It's communicating that a boundary has been crossed. So then we work together to understand why, what is anger telling you, and what's an appropriate response to that.
yeah,
So sometimes that could be improved communication skills. Sometimes that's processing a loss. Sometimes that's processing the loss of a relationship or the loss of several relationships, getting things off your chest in a way that maybe you haven't before. Um, so we can kind of take that approach as well. Um, there are also other treatments that I think might be helpful for you, but I don't know if do you want to hear those too, just so you can kind of
I'm
know
I'm
what's available?
I'm open to anything. Like I said, I want to
Okay,
like I said, I'm trying to understand why I can't seem
sure.
to let this go, and I really want to let it go. Like I don't want anything to do with the people involved. Like I think I've told enough of them
Yeah.
to stay the fuck away. Um, but like I want to be past this. Like, and I don't know why I'm not past it. Like I
Yeah, that's why I think the EFT might be helpful to because a lot of times emotions tell us things, right? And if this is an emotion that we've experienced before and we never learned how to deal with it, a lot of times it sticks around a little bit longer.
yeah
Um, or if it's just a really powerful emotion that we've never had to deal with before, we don't know what to deal with, so it keeps coming up. Um, so I think that that's a good place to move forward. What are your thoughts?
um I mean I'm all on board. I just
Okay.
um
Yeah.
I'm glad I was able to concisely tell the whole story. 'Cause like I said,
Yeah.
it is a lot of stuff, and there's little events that happen along the way here and there and stuff, and but I
Sure.
probably pick those out later. But I think
Yeah.
yeah, so
We got time together, so we can definitely kind of nitpick the different pieces.
yeah.